Hi everybody, it's Pam with Silver and Sparkles, and I have a lot of fun stuff to show you guys today. So first, let me show you the project that we're gonna at least get the foundation made in the video. But I'll show you this one all decorated because I think it just turned out so cute. This is a little bit of a different type closure than I've done. I think I want to make some of these with lots of fun layers for some larger journals too. But it's basically, I don't know, a collar, a flap that's removable. And I didn't even do a ton of decorating to the front of the journal because I just thought how pretty that is with it on there. And I decorated the back too. So anyway, and this is a new paper kit. It's available in my Etsy shop, a digital and a print and ship option. Dragonflies. I had someone request a kit with some dragonflies, and this is what I came up with. So this one has a little bit of fabric, some seam binding, some hand-dyed seam binding ribbon, and there's this large tag. There's some pockets. Let's see. This is a pocket here, and then this is a folio, and it opens up like this. And I'm going to show you what I made it with in just a moment, but you can just use any kind of cardstock, scrapbook paper, whatever you want. It's cute. This little flip. I love these new colors I have in the seam binding. Didn't want to add too much more bulk in here, so I just decorated the top of this tag instead of, like, you know, putting a piece of ribbon on it. But I wanted to also leave this mostly for journaling space, but you know, we could embellish more if we want to. There's this cute envelope. So there's a couple of envelopes. Anyway, I'll show you some of the things. Some tags, fussy cuts, some of these shaped tags. Just a fun kit, and I'm happy with how it turned out, and I love the folio. So it's 16 pages, and I don't have it all printed out. You saw a lot of the dragonfly images here, but 10 of the pages are these pages that are like the double in a, you know, for a junk journal, and each of the 10 have some type of dragonfly image, like on one side, and then the other side is like, you know, for you to do pockets, more journaling, that type of thing. This would be a kit that would be really easy to make a very simple writing journal that would be really pretty, I think. And then there's a couple of pages. Oh, and I didn't even talk about the stamps that have, there's 2 envelopes of this shape, and then there's 2 of these coin envelopes. I have both of those printed. A strip of really cute stamps, pockets, tags, this shape here, and then I think, like, and I still have a bunch because to make this folio, I cut the journaling pages in half and then down to the size that I needed. Oh, there's a strip of tabs, right, that you can use, and then a whole bunch of fussy cuts. And I know you guys know how much I love fussy cuts, right? I haven't even cut them all out. There we go. And here's another envelope. Oh, I think it's the same one. But anyway, and then on my folio, I also used some of the words from my handwritten words and sentiments. I don't remember the name, but that's in my Etsy shop too. So I will try to remember to link everything in the description for you guys below. And I'll also, when we get to making the base of the folio, I'll give you the measurements for that so you have options there. Okay, and then the other thing that I have new in my shop are some new sets of seam binding. And so there's 4 new sets. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so, and this one, I think the colors, they are so deep and rich. This is going to be really pretty for not only like the fall, but as we head into the holidays. There's that green and red, and there's a navy in there that are so pretty, along with some browns. And then I loved this one. This is back to a little bit softer colors, but again, great vintage, I think vintage colors. This one is green. I think I called it green and grays or green and silvers. One of them is a little bit more of a blue gray, and then there's a dark gray and a light kind of silvery gray, and then 3 different greens. Love that one. And then this is fun too. I thought this was great also for fall. It's got like that chartreuse color and then a really deep, pretty purple, a rose. Anyway, there's 6 different colors in each one. You'll just have to go into Etsy, I guess, and look at it. And here's some of the pieces that I kept for myself. And then I used some already in this project. And then in my Etsy shop too, I still have some of these assortments, which are great, I think, year-round colors. And of course, the garage is opening because my husband just came home. And then my assortment of just kind of the vintagey neutrals. There's still a few of both of these left in my shop too, if you're interested. So lots to look at. And I also still have some vintage lace and ribbon samplers. There's a section in my shop that even just says ribbons. So if you're interested in that, and I will be putting up some new samplers as I start sorting through the stuff that I got, you know, at the 127 yard sale. And I hope to also do like some fabric samplers and things like that, but more to come on all of that and a giveaway. Okay. So let me get these out of my way and show you what I used to make this. So I had a bunch of this, or I have a bunch of this, as you can see, in my stash. And these are like when you buy, I guess, and I got like 5 packs of the cards and the envelopes at a yard sale a couple years ago. So these have been around a while, but I think you can get these still like at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, stuff like that. When you fold it on the score line that it comes like, you know, in the package, you get a card that's approximately 5 by 7, right? So the paper itself is like, it's not quite 10, but 10 by 7 would work perfectly. If you want to make this project with any cardstock that you have, any color, any pattern, right? You can make this flippy folio. I am using these, and some of my measurements and design was born out of the fact of, you know, these are all already creased in half. But I'm going to give you the measurements, and you can cut your own paper. If you happen to have some card bases and you want to use those, go for it. All right. And then I just layered pretty paper. So again, you can use any paper that makes you happy and have fun. So to make this project, you are going to need 2 pieces that measure 7 by 10. All right. And I'm going to put the measurements and the scoring down below. Now, you will then need 4 more pieces that are different sizes, and I'm going to have them all for you again in the description. But to make them, I used 2 more pieces. Okay, but if you're not using card base that already measure the 10 by 7, I would just look at the measurements, because you might be able to cut it more conveniently. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know that you need to cut 2 more pieces down to 10 by 7 to then get to my smaller pieces, is what I'm trying to say. All right, so 2 pieces that measure 7 by 10, score them on the 10-inch side at 5 inches, which means you're just going to then be folding them in half. All right, so you need 2 of those. Then you need a piece that measures 4 3/4 by 5 1/2. All right, and you are going to score it on the 5 1/2 inch side. So let's just say this is our 5 1/2 inch piece at 1 1/2 and at 5 inches. Now, I'm going to show you how I'm going to get to that piece by folding one of my card bases in half. Again, the measurements and the scoring will be in the description. I don't want to confuse anybody. Okay. So let me get this to the right size. Now I'm trying to remember how I cut it. Okay, I want a piece that is a 4 3/4 inches by 5 1/2. This is what I did. And that fold line's right there. So mine already had the fold line, but we have a piece that's 5 1/2 by 4 3/4. Now, if you just cut a piece of paper that's 5 1/2 by 4 3/4. You will then, you're going to use your scoreboard, lay it on your scoreboard, score it at 1.5 inches, and then at 5, and mine's already scored. All right, it's going to be just like that, and I'll show you what we're going to do with it in a minute. Okay, then you need a piece, and I used these to make some tags and things. We're going to use this. You need this piece. This measures 2 1/4 inches by 10. All right. So when I cut this one, this is left over. I got these 2 pieces from one of these. All right. I'm probably confusing somebody, but I'm not trying to. Now, you need a piece that measures, instead of cutting it at 4 3/4, we're going to cut this one at 4. So again, I want a piece that is 4 inches by 5.5. And this one, if you cut your piece 4 by 5.5, score it at 5 inches. So you get this one little hinge. Okay, and that's all you're going to do. Save that piece to make something else with. And then you need a piece that measures 3 by 10. All right, and this one again, score it at 5 inches on the 10-inch side so you can fold it in half. There is probably an easier way to explain that, but I don't want you to get hung up on the fact that if you don't have card bases, you can't make this. If you have them, it really is super easy to get to these pieces. All right, and we're going to use all of them, and then these are just to make journaling cards or to back our tags and things if we want to. Okay, let's set them aside. Now, take your 2 pieces, your 2 large pieces, and don't glue anything yet, please. So it's going to open this way. This piece, after we attach some things to it, will get glued to that panel, and then it will close like this and like this. Okay, so it'll open and open. All right, so set one of these aside, and we are going to attach to the left-hand side of one of our pieces that measures 7 by 10. Okay, the first one we're going to attach is this piece. This is the piece that is 4 3/4 by 5.5. Now we scored it at 1.5 and 5. Now we're going to turn it, and you want the tiny flap to fold back and the larger flap to fold forward. And then let me show you what this is going to make. This is going to be this flap and pocket right here. And it can fold like this or like this. All right, so there it is. And I'm not going to layer anything first. You can if you want to. I'm just really showing you guys how to make the base. All right, I want mine centered, and I'm just going to eyeball it, but pretty much in the center. And I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to glue it down. So just attach it by that 1/2 inch hinge we made. Now I have found gluing like this kind of craft cardstock to craft cardstock, you have to give it a second. And it does soak up the glue. But there we go. Now, I made mine into a pocket. If you want to, you can leave it as a flippy. I made mine a pocket, and I did not layer any paper on here. And I think it looks fine. I made a cute journaling card for it. But see how you see the craft cardstock? I'm going to wait to glue this into a pocket and decide, do I want it to be a flip open or a pocket, and do I want to layer? So I'm not going to glue mine yet. If you definitely want it to be a pocket, just add glue here and here. Glue it down. Okay? Now, you need to find the piece that measures 4 inches by 5.5. We scored it at 5 inches. So now we have that flap, and this one is going to get attached to the same piece like this. So again, I want mine to be centered. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm tossing things everywhere, and we're going to glue it down by the flap. So there we go. And if it oozes out, just wipe it off. Okay, nice. So now we have that flap. All right, this next one is the piece that measures 2¼ inches by 10 inches. And it was also folded in half on that 10-inch side, or score at 5 inches. Okay, now this one, all I did, don't glue it yet because you have options, is I made a pocket on this side, and I made a pocket on this side. Now, I made the decision on this one to shorten it a little bit, just to not have quite as much bulk here in the middle. You don't have to. The other thing I thought about doing is having the pocket on one side and letting this be a flip open if you wanted to. Right now it's just a pocket. If you want to shorten it, then chop it off. I am probably going to take, I'm gonna take 1 inch off. I kind of liked the layering look and how it was a little bit smaller, and I do feel it folded up a little better. And I brought it all the way to the bottom just to make this little pocket here, and then a full pocket over here. I'm gonna go ahead and glue it in and then layer the paper later. Again, you can kind of decide if you want to wait and layer and then glue. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you how this works. Bring it pretty close to the bottom there. So I just added glue to this side, the bottom, and right here. And then when I flip it this way, I will just add glue here and here. So it's not a hard construction, and you can change it up if you want to do yours differently. I hope this helps you guys see how, and I do this. I'll just start with a couple of pieces of cardstock and just kind of cut and fold until I get a flippy folder that I like. And it can have more folds. All right, now that we have these together, this is back to what's going to be our cover. So this whole panel here is going to glue right here. Now, I bring mine over just a touch so it doesn't cross this score line. I assume y'all can see that, but maybe not. I don't want to cross this line, and I like to give it a little bit of room just so that everything will fold up in here nicely. It does mean it juts out just a touch this way. I'm okay with that. So to me, it gets to be too much thickness. So what I do is I take my glue and I bring it, like I said, not quite to that score line. And then I just cover this panel because I know this piece that I'm going to glue down is going to hang off just a smidge. So it's easier to add the glue to this side than to try to add to the glue back here and press it down and then get glue everywhere. I hope that made sense. Guys, thank you for spending time with me. We're just going to lay it down. If you're new, welcome. Glad you're here. If you're one of my returning viewers, I love that you choose to spend time with me. Thank you so much. And if you guys like the video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment. Let me know what's going on. All right. All right, it's that simple. Now, depending on what elements we use or other elements we make, you can add more pockets, things like this. This is the closure. And again, I layered it. I added some eyelets and a ribbon. If you wanted to, you could do it this way and be a little different and tie it on the left side, right? But it just comes off. You could probably make it, if you wanted to, where it slides, perhaps. You know, I just think it's so cute. And like I said, I'm not that jazzed about the cover when this this piece isn't here, but I think it's really pretty when it is here. And that was just some fabric that I put on there. All right. And then we just start layering. Now, I didn't plan today to do all the layering and the decorating because I just wanted to show you the construction and then how fabulous it can look when you do that. But if enough people are like, oh, we want to see you decorate one, let me know, and I'll plan to do that at some point in another video. But hopefully this got the juices flowing. Again, use any papers that make you happy. If you don't have a printer, you know, you can use scrapbook paper. Book page would be great. Decorate it with then fussy cuts and stickers and washi tape and whatever makes you happy, right? So I hope you guys will give it a try and that you enjoy it. If you have any questions, let me know. I was looking for this. And until next time, have a great time crafting. Thanks, friends.